Isang makakalikasang araw, nasasabi ka na ba sa nasasabi ka na bang matuklasan ang mga ilang kaalaman tungkol sa aghampang kapaligiran? Sabay-sabay nating ayan. So, isang makakalikasang araw, nasasabi ka ba sa bagong kaalaman na matutuklasan tungkol sa pag-aaral ng aghampang kapaligiran? Alamin natin yan ng sabay-sabay kasama ang ating masigasig na tagapagsalita sa araw na ito. Inihahandog ng Philippine Association of Environmental Science Students ang PANTAS, Environmental Research in the Local and Global Setup ngayong ika-30 ng Agosto sa kasalukuyang taon. Ang ating programa ay dadaloy mula alas 3 hanggang alas 4 ng hapon. Kaya samahan niyo kaming matuto, tunghayan ang isang makabuluhang talakayan. Tunay ngang Tunay nga isang karangalan na maglingkod bilang inyong tagapagdaloy sa hapon na ito. Ako, si Saila Anamay Mirasol, mula sa Cavite State University, ang kasalukuyang Vice President for Advocacy ng Philippine Association of Environmental Science Students o PAES. Bago tayo magpatuloy sa mga nagnanais ng e-certificates, maaari kayong makakuha nito matapos ang webinar. Just fill in the evaluation form na ilalagay sa ating comment section ng FB page live webinar. Paalala na ang evaluation form ay open lamang mamaya hanggang bukas ng alas 8 ng gabi. Ngunit, hayaan niyo muna akong ipakilala ang aming organisasyon. Sino o ano nga ba ang PAES? Kami, ang samahan ng mag-aaral ng Aghampang Kaligiran ng Pilipinas. Kung nais yun namang makiisa sa amin o maging kabilang sa aming samahan ng Aghampang Kaligiran ng Pilipinas o PAES, ay malugod namin kayong tinatanggap. We are the National Association of Organizations from both undergraduate and graduate levels of degree programs aligned, related, or equivalent to environmental sciences and environmental management. Tinatanggap din po namin ang mga organisasyon mula sa environmental engineering, environmental planning, environmental biology, at marami pang iba. Kung nais nyo namang maging kasapi ng aming samahan o mayroon kayong mga katanungan, maaari kayong magpadala ng email sa membership.paes@gmail.com. Ipinagmamalaki rin ng Philippine Association of Environmental Science Students ang mga member local organizations. Ngayon, makikita niyo po sa ating screen kung gaano na nga ba kalawak ang narating ng aming samahan sa buong Pilipinas. Makikita rito ang mga organisasyong kasapi ng PAES sa iba't ibang universidad, mula sa Ilocos Sur hanggang sa Zamboanga del Sur. Sa kasalukuyan ay meron na po tayong 54 organizations or university na miyembro ng PAES, tulad na lamang ng Environmental Science Student Organization from Central Bicol State University of Agriculture, Sipocot, at ang Young Environmentalist Society from Benguet State University. Makikita rin po sa ating screen ang mga social media accounts ng PAES. Kung gusto nyo pong malaman ang mga bagong kaganapan sa PAES, you can follow us po sa mga social media accounts po na yan. Para sa iba pang anunsyo, marahil lamang na i-follow ang Facebook page ng PAES at para sa ating mga miyembro, huwag kalimutang sumali sa ating Facebook group. And of course, for more details, you can follow the other social media accounts ng PAES. Sa Instagram ay at nvisci_student_ph kung saan pwede niyong makita ang mga larawan ng mga kwentong ganap sa buhay NVisci. And on our YouTube channel at Environmental Science Students PH, subscribe, like, and click the share button para mabalikan at mapanood ang mga paborito niyong episode. And do not also forget to turn on the notification bell para lagi namin kayong ma-notify sa mga bagong ipopost so you won't miss any interesting episodes. Ngayon, dumako naman tayo sa presentation outline. Meron tayong baselining for menti.com, opening remarks, an introduction of resource speakers, presentation, Q&A, and some announcements sa bandang dulo. So ayan, para sa ating baselining, maaari niyong buksan ang inyong mga browser. Just search menti.com at itype ang code na 89980970. Or you can scan the QR code na makikita natin sa ating mga screen. Again, pumunta po tayo sa menti.com at itype ang code na 89980970. Yan. Para na binabati ko rin ang ating mga manonood sa ating FB Live kung nagdadatingan na sila. So ayan, muli, pwede po kayong pumunta sa ating menti.com at i-type ang code na 89980970. Sagutin lamang po ang mga tanong at maaari niyo po siyang ilagay sa ating comment section sa FB Live. Ayan. So let's start na siguro for our first question. Para sa ating unang katanungan, nasaang probinsya ka ngayon? Yan, sige, hintayin natin ang ating mga participants from our FB Live at tingnan natin kung gaano na nga ba kalawak ang nararating ng ating webinar ngayong hapon. So ayan, nakikita ko dito meron tayong from Lanao del Sur, Leyte, may Pampanga. So ayan, uh, are all around the Philippines na talaga siya. Ayan, meron din Batangas, Quezon City. Ayan, marami-rami na sasagap nating mga participants ngayong hapon. Ayan, meron ding Laguna. Ayan. So, ayan. So, let's proceed to our next question. So, ano ang paborito mong marine species? So, sa ating mga participants, ano po ang inyong mga paboritong marine species? Siguro para sa akin, kung ako'y tatanungin, favorite marine species ko, pawikan, siguro. Since parang doon talaga pinakamalapit ay yung siguro pag kung i-compare yung mga naging past experiences ko rin when it comes to marine ecosystem, pawikan talaga yung pinaka mas na-encounter ko marine species and super resilient niya talaga when it comes to every situations. Ayan, meron ako nakikita dito, may dolphin, whale, starfish, ano to, nudibranch, dugong, turtle, stingrays. Ayan, grabe. Ang diverse ng mga favorite marine species ng ating mga participants. Meron ding pawikan, sailfish. Ayan. So, ayan, ang dami nang nagpa-participate din. Ano. Ayan, meron pang dumagdag. Ayan, mga stingrays, whale shark, great white shark. So, fish daw. Ayan. So maraming salamat po sa inyong pag-participate. Let's move on to our next question. Ayan. For our next question, sa inyong palagay, alin ang pinakamalaking hamon sa yamang dagat ng Pilipinas? So meron po tayo ditong apat na binigay na parang ocean problems. Overfishing, climate change, marine pollution, at mahinang pagpapatupad ng batas sa marine protected areas. Kaya karamihan dito ay, ayan, si climate change, marine pollution, at saka yung mahinang pagpapatupad ng mga batas sa marine protected areas. Ayan, siya na ngayon na nangunguna, yung mahinang pagpapatupad. So, wala masyadong ngipin ang implementation when it comes to laws sa marine protected areas according sa ating mga participants. Yun ang nakikita nilang pinakamalaking hamon sa yamang dagat natin dito sa Pilipinas. So ayan, the answers are coming and until now sila pa rin ang nangunguna. So ayan, maraming salamat sa mga nag-participate sa ating baselining. So, malalaman natin yan later kung bakit ganyan yung mga questions na ibinigay natin sa ating menti.com. Ayan, muling paalala, meron tayong webinar e-certificates. I-comment nyo lamang ang inyong pangalan at universidad sa FB Live comment section and fill in the evaluation form na ibibigay pagkatapos ng webinar. Open ito mamaya hanggang bukas ng alas 8 ng gabi. So, ayan, grabe. Katatapos lang ng baselining, pero feel ko na na-baseline na rin tayo sa dami ng info. Pero teka, napansin nyo ba, may pattern, may kabog, or may pa-theme. And no, hindi ito tungkol sa kung ilang plantita points ang mga na-earn mo this month. This is all about research. So, research na hindi basta-basta gawa lang. Ito yung tipo ng pananaliksik na may silbi, may saysay, at higit sa lahat, may impact. Kaya welcome mga kaibigan sa Pantas, kung saan ang katalinuhan at pangkalikasan ay nagsanib puwersa for a better, greener tomorrow. Boom! Science with a purpose. Dito sa Pantas, hindi lang tayo nakikinig. Tayo ay maglalakbay sa mundo ng environmental research, mula sa local na issues sa barangay hanggang sa global climate action. Lahat yan pwede nating tapatan ng data, analysis at konting kapem-pampagising. So ayan, let's move forward sa pinaka-concept ng ating ng environmental science. So, we all know dito sa ating program sa environmental science ay meron tayong holistic approach. So, maraming ecosystem na present tayo. And for now, for today, ang pagpapokusan natin is the marine ecosystem. And aalamin natin mamaya yung mga components at saka iba pang kailangan nating malaman when it comes to environmental research na nakafocus sa marine ecosystem. So, ayan, may physical, biological, social, and economic, and institutional impact din yan. So, ayan, alam kong excited na kayo. So, grabe, ang daming nakaabang sa ating webinar ngayong hapon. Parang weather forecast ng Pag-asa since ngayon lang umuulan-ulan dito sa may part ng Cavite. Kamusta naman dyan sa ibang parte ng bansa ngayon? Kamusta ang inyong ano? Pero ngayon, information flood ang dala naman namin. Walang baha, pero may buhos ng kaalaman. So, kaya tara na. This is it. Ang exciting part. Handa na ba kayo? Kasi kami super ready na. Let's meet the legit expert who will blow your minds with facts, insights, at counting hugot sa research life. Get your pens, notes, and snacks ready because it's time to welcome our amazing resource speaker. So, ready na ba kayo to dive into inspiration? Because today's keynote speaker is not just cruising through life, she's literally swimming with purpose and making waves for our oceans and coastal communities. Right now, she works as a research officer sa Sulubay Environmental Foundation sa Taytay, Palawan, as in, nasa field siya monitoring marine protected areas, checking on food security ng mga and bringing science straight to the people. So graduate siya ng BS Biology, cum laude pa from Silliman University, and now she's upgrading her eco powers as a MS Environmental Science student sa UP Los Baños. Kita nyo na, academic slay, di ba? So, and when we say accomplish, international conferences, check. Grants and fellowships, check. Diving into ocean, literally and scientifically, double check. In short, she's saving the oceans while making waves in science. So mga kaibigan, maghanda na kayo. Ipakita natin ang full energy with claps and reacts at standing ovation kahit na nasa Zoom lang tayo ngayon. So let's all welcome Binibining Ana Isabel Celis.
Hello.
Hello
Thank
po.
you, Syla. Okay lang ba ako? Clear lang ba? Yeah, okay. Sige. Hello, everyone. Chinek ko rin sa comments so far yung mga tao na nag-a-attendance check, and I see na marami talagang mga people from all over the Philippines, so that's great. And maayong hapon ninyo. I think maraming mga Bisaya dito for now. Pero yeah, I shared my screen. Okay lang ba? Klaro lang ba? Okay, thank you. Sige, okay. Thank you, Saira, ulit sa introduction. I think that was a bit intense. Hindi po ako cum laude. Hindi rin po ako masyadong, I mean, nakaka-pressure naman yung expert in a way, but from what I see it, I am an early career researcher, and this is what I'll be talking about. So, sorry, medyo magde-default ako a little bit to English kasi yung paggawa ko nito ng presentation and pagplano was in English. Pero I'll try my best to mix it up, and kung anong gusto nyo, mag-comment na lang kayo kung anong lingwahe. Wow. Hindi. But yeah. So this is my presentation for you guys. So as Silas said, my name is Anna, but I wear many hats. So first and foremost, especially financially, kasi sila nagsisweldo sa akin, I am a research officer sa Sulubay Environmental Foundation. Isa to siyang small-scale NGO that is based in Palawan. And we are based off a very tiny island that works with local communities, local barangays na nandun rin sa Bae. I am also the co-founder of Sustainable Ocean Alliance Palawan Hub, which is part of the bigger Sustainable Ocean Alliance Global. And I'm the science lead of Lalakbayin Eco Ventures, which is an eco venture or like a thing in Coron that integrates tourism and conservation with like technology. And lastly, and the oldest hat that I'm wearing is I'm a student sa SESAM UPLB. So, this is just an overview on what I will be talking about. It's very me centered. So I'm usually used to talking about the research or topics when I do this. But yeah, this is mostly about me, my journey in research, what I'm currently doing, some opportunities and takeaways, and also challenges and advices that I have for you guys. Wow, daming alam. But yeah, so this is my journey into research. It actually starts way back nung elementary ako when I just like randomly decided na I want to be a marine biologist. And then wala lang. Wala for some reason that's just it sounded cool. And then wala na rin ako may nakita ibang option na like would like pique my interest. So I carried that resolve since elementary. And nung nag-college ako, I took my biology degree sa Silliman with the intention to take a master's doon rin in marine biology. But as I went on with my studies, I realized na I wanted to include a human dimension or like aspect to my work. Kasi marine biology can sometimes be like very hard science heavy work that just involves the environment or the marine environment, like nothing much about people. So that's why I decided na if mag-masters ako, mag-e-NBISI ako because it incorporates all of those dimensions, even the social and the environment, as Tita Eleanor Ostrom would say. So I took my NBISI. I was a pandemic baby, so I was just in front of my laptop for most of my classes. But yeah, this time na nag-masters ako full time, paved the path into the work that I have now, which is a research officer in an NGO. And it really covers all the aspects of like research that I wanted to do. So, this is what I'm doing. Yung prerogative namin nung nagplan kami ng mga data na gagawin namin was to kind of throw out a big net of just to catch all of the data and just see kung ano yung makukuha namin that would be interesting. So with that big net comes big sets of data. So we decided to kind of categorize them into three parts: ecological, fisheries, and socioeconomic. So we start underwater, ecological, and then a bit above water, yung fisheries, and how people fish and how they interact with the marine resources. And then we move out into the socioeconomic aspects sa mga coastal communities naman. And all of this are being planned and analyzed with the consideration of how marine protected areas will affect them. So just to give you, ang pangit ng paglagay ko ng slide, pero just to give you like a visual of what we're doing. This, I don't know if makita nyo yung ano ko, yung pointer ko. Wait, let me try. Okay, sige. Ito na lang. Yung may nakasulat na Pangatalan MPA, that is our little isla kung saan base yung NGO namin. Those little boxes are the marine protected areas that we established with the local communities. And then this is just a picture of the bay namin. It's called Shark Fin Bay kasi if you can see sa mountain, the tip of the mountain kind of looks like the shark fin. So shark fin bay. Also maraming sharks sa bay before. But yeah, and then those little circles na areas, like random areas na nakita nyo, that's the sites that we do our research on. So just to give you like a visual kung saan kami at anong ginagawa namin. So, our research kind of addresses different things. Hindi lang to lahat, but one of like the most interesting ones that I think people would like is first, we deal directly with yung NGO namin is yung goal niya talaga marine conservation. So we are putting marine protected areas in the bay and with the goal not only to conserve the marine resources, but to make sure that people can still sustainably fish and keep their livelihoods as fishing as time goes on. And another thing is if you have that, na you have a lot of access to fish, you will have better food security. So parang that's one of the things that we wanted to establish when we were doing our research. Kasi there are just so many papers that would just say na marine protected area equals more fish equals food security. But nag when we read their papers, wala naman silang ginagawang actual measuring of food security. So if you read marine protected area management plans all over the Philippines, you will see food security as the buzzword for the food security of the people na ganun. Pero people aren't really looking into the food security aspect. They're not going into the communities to see kung ano talaga yung epekto ng marine protected areas, which is the reason why we established them in the first place for some. Kasi there are some marine protected areas that is established simply just to protect the marine resources, and there are more, and some are being established for other things. Another fun research gap that we are also addressing is shedding light into gleaning. Kasi when we talk about fisheries data, historically, yung commercial fisheries talaga yung marami. Small scale fisheries in the past couple decades, they're kind of like getting more traction. But there is one fishing activity that is getting left behind, and that is gleaning or panginginas, pangkinas. It's what happens when the tide is low and people go out and they just pick kung ano yung makikita nila for food. So yeah, fun stuff. So this is an overview naman of how we collect our data. So this is underwater, but muna tayo. We are currently doing a lot of fish population surveys. We have been conducting fish visual census since 2019. And so in all of the sites that I showed you before, and interestingly also, we have been monitoring all of this in the bay before nilagay yung mga marine protected areas. So it's a super interesting data set to see talaga the what the fish populations was like before and establish yung marine protected areas compared to after. Kasi most of the marine protected areas here, they're only being monitored kapag natatag na siya. So you don't really get to have that before and after comparison. So yeah, we have that, and then we're also doing benthic survey. We're looking into our coral reefs and how it interacts with the fish communities. And also we're doing coral bleaching. Like for example, last year there was another mass global bleaching. We also did some surveys for that one. So mga ecological part yan siya ng data. We go up a little bit out of the water but above water. We're working closely with the fisher folks sa tatlong barangays that we work with, and we're doing a bunch of things. First is yung landing survey. We actually have people sa mga barangays who are um, writing down kung ano yung mga kung ano yung fishing effort ng mga tao sa bay. So when they land, they ask them, ilang kilos yung nakuha mo? Saan ka isda? Ano katagal? Ano yung method na ginamit mo? And also, we're doing experimental fishing, which is a really interesting thing kasi we have marine protected areas and na-establish na namin na if you protect an area, you will have spillover effects of fish, meaning tataas yung abundance and biomass ng mga isda kapag protected yung area. But what does that mean for fisheries and how it will benefit the fishers? So we're doing experimental fishing as well sa mga sites kung saan kami nagsusurvey ng mga isda underwater. And we're trying to look into that translation of fish biomass and abundance into fishery productivity. And nag-fisher census rin kami because it's important to have like a good understanding of how fishing works in the bay, of course. And lastly, socioeconomic data collection. We have food consumption because, of course, we also study the food security of the communities. So every year, pumupunta kami sa mga barangays at tinatanong namin kung ano yung kinakain nila. And um, it's a very annoying survey for them. Kasi yung tanong namin is, anong kinain mo in the past 3 days? Gaano karami? Ilang gramos? Binili mo ba? Magkano? Saan galing? Sino yung kumain? Yung anak mo? Ilang edad na? How old is she? Boy, girl? So it's very specific and very nuanced. So we are confident in the food security aspect that we are capturing doon sa communities. We're also doing semi-structured interviews and perception surveys and things like that. So we make sure that kung ano yung mga perceptions ng mga tao and how they live their life is translated well into the management ng marine resources nila. Kasi hindi naman pwede na you just like put a marine protected area and you put all of these rules in place without thinking about how people interact with those in the first place. So yeah. All of that data that I talked about is part of a big project ng NGO namin. But the fun thing is, if you are like a researcher, you can also do your own thing. Like, pwede ka rin maka-sideline and apply for small grants, like what I did. So you will have a lot of opportunities to actually get grants or funds or support from the global north kasi marami silang pera, and us as poor developing third world countries, they have these financial budgets like in place for us that they just give out. So definitely keep that in mind and take advantage of that. Uh, let's see. 4 out of the 5 conferences, if I'm not right, are have been funded. Kasi I kind of packaged myself as someone who is working uh, working at a third world country and ganun. So they have more opportunities for us, and that's something that we should definitely take advantage of. Kasi totoo naman na sa mga conferences internationally, especially, we are definitely still underrepresented. So yeah, you have a lot of opportunities for travel, for research stuff that you can do. So keep an eye out for them and just apply. I mean, there's the worst that they can say is no. So just yeah, keep that in mind. So some key takeaways, some conclusions from our current research. I've mentioned before na yung MPAs, yung marine protected areas namin, they are relatively young. The oldest one that we have is 9 years old, and that is still considered to be quite young. And then the other 3 marine protected areas that we have are 3 years old. So very young. But from all of the fish population surveys that we've been doing, the fish visual census, we actually already have proof that even if your marine protected areas are young and relatively small, yung sizes nila dito kasi would range around 30 to 50 hectares, which is considered a little bit small. Kasi generally, kapag marine protected areas, the bigger the better. But sometimes hindi lang siya feasible, especially in different contexts. Like for us, we are a small bay and there are a lot of people fishing. Hindi naman pwede na i-close namin yung a very big portion. So hindi na makakaisda yung mga tao. But even if you have small marine protected areas and even if they're young, as long as you enforce them really, really well, it will show spillover effects, even if they're young, especially within the reef continuum. Then the reef continuum is just, andito yung marine protected area mo, and then there's reefs, and it just continues, hindi siya nagka-cut off. For gleaning fisheries naman, most small-scale fishing activities, I think all over the Philippines, they are being heavily commodified. So, yung mga nakukuha nilang mga isda at mga resources, they sell it. Most of it is being sold. Gleaning, we see it as like a pocket of resistance for commodification. Kasi yung mga gleaners talaga, kapag tatanungin namin sila kung para sa ano to, bakit ka nanginginas? They say that it's gonna be for consumption lang talaga. So it really has that contribution na malaki, although very heavily understudied, na malaki yung contribution niya sa food and nutritional security. But it goes deeper than that, and I don't think I have all of the time to talk about that. But gleaning is such an interesting subject that is so undervalued and understudied. MPAs and food security. So I mentioned before, a lot of people are saying na MPA equals more fish equals more food security. But from what we have seen actually sa Bay is that a lot of the Bay produces enough fish for everyone to eat. Pero kapag tatanungin namin yung mga tao during our annual surveys, do you think you have enough fish to eat? Sasabi sila, 6 out of 10 would say, no, we don't have enough fish. And that's because it might just be very context specific sa area namin or maybe just sa Palawan. But most of the fish being caught are being exported to heavily tourist areas like El Nido. So that's what we're trying to push na it's not enough to just say na you'll have more fish na dagat, mas more food security. There needs to be some grassroots work and intervention within the community for them to achieve food security. So the work just doesn't just stop with like pagtatag ng marine protected areas. And of course, we are also including citizen science initiatives like sa isang small research grant ko before we trained divers, we trained local fishers in scuba diving, and then we taught them this method called the fish map, which was developed by Sir Rene, by Dr. Rene Abisamis, where they can do fish visual census. So that was really interesting for them because they get to see kung ano talaga what it's like underwater. And this data produced statistically significant results that show that there are more fish inside rather than outside of marine protected areas. Other than that, kasama rin namin yung mga local fishers sa experimental fishing and collecting some data like the landings data. So they're heavily involved sa data, sa research and data collection process namin. And it gives them that, it empowers them to improve the equity of coastal management kasi parang you're giving them the capacity, that knowledge, you're sharing capacity to them, and it gives them more motivation to be more active sa marine conservation activities. So yeah, when you do research, especially in small rural areas, unfortunately, I've heard before that there are a lot of people who have that outlook sa mga researchers na pumunta lang sila dito para kumolekta ng data tapos nawala na. So it's very important for us, and we reiterate this multiple times, na the work with the communities doesn't stop when we are done collecting the data, when we have coded, it doesn't stop there. Like the encoding and the analysis, like kami na lang, there needs to be an aspect of results sharing to the local communities. Kasi we kind of owe it to them to do this. Kasi we ask their time and we ask their effort to do all of this. Of course, there needs to be an aspect of sharing kasi that's parang utang na loob or something. Alam mo, like kung ililibre ka ng friend mo tapos isa-story mo siya, parang like thank you sa libre, parang ganun siya. But on the research scale, that thank you is that sharing part. So it's so important to share your results and to be completely transparent with what you're doing. Like, ito yung isa-survey namin sa iyo, ito yung maglalabas, ito yung, like, dito siya magko-contribute sa ganito, and ito yung probably what would happen sa marine management if we get this and if we get that. So yeah, sharing results to the local community, and also important to remember na you have to frame like the results, or you have to frame what you're presenting to them in a way that would be relevant to them and in a way that they would understand. So it's not like it's different from the scientific community or to your funders. Iba yung pag-present mo sa kanila. And of course, it's also important to share your results to the scientific community. So it's like I said before, maraming mga conferences, especially on the international scale, that gives out a lot of travel funds. So definitely keep that in mind. Keep an eye out sa mga conferences that you would see that you think would be relevant for you. Just make sure that the results or the study that you're doing is highly relevant and kind of like gives you an edge doon. Kasi ayun lang naman yung hinahanap nila. You're kind of already there sa stepping stone, being a researcher in a third world country, and you just need to have like a nice, good paper that you can share to the scientific community. So, this is my last slide, di ba? Ang konting challenges, ang daming advice, taray. But yeah, I don't know if I'm over the time na. Pero, but yeah, some challenges. It's nice to talk about all of the different endeavors that we're doing. But of course, it's also important to share kung saan naman yung mga research namin would fall short on. Um, eh, I'm not hindi siya excuse, but I think this is highly common sa mga researchers, especially na it's very difficult to translate your research into policy. I think in a way, well, because we are researchers talaga, and yung background natin is on like hard sciences and things like that. We don't really have um training or like understanding of like science of policy and how it can translate to managements. But yeah, that's one of the things that you need to keep in mind, especially if you want to be a researcher, that there's that aspect, that there's that challenge of doing that. And even me, I'm finding that quite difficult to achieve, but definitely achievable. I'm not saying na hanggang research ka lang and then wala siyang real life impact. But there is like that is another stepping stone that you would encounter as a researcher. Um, it's marine conservation, especially when you look for work there, is definitely also a competitive space. So make sure that when you want to go into research or marine conservation and works like this, that you kind of find your certain niche or a certain skill that you have. For example, learning R, which is a programming language, would be really helpful. The learning curve is super steep, pero once you get the hang of it, it really brings out a lot of opportunities for you. Um, yeah, challenges as well is some plans fail. I wouldn't say this na parang it's a challenge na ano, pero as a researcher, kasi yung ano, yung highlight ni Saila kanina is like highly relevant research. But sometimes talaga, as a researcher, when you're exploring things and you kind of have all of these like bright ideas on like doing this and doing that, and like you're excited, you want to go and collect your data. Minsan, you just end up with a data set that is completely useless, and that's fine. I just wanted to throw that out there. Actually, na ano, sometimes your research plan doesn't really get that successful, and that's okay. When I was working under this PhD student called Victor, he also had that na parang may mga data sets siya na is just like kind of there, like hiding. And as I went on with my work, I also have a bunch of data sets sa mga folders ko that are just like hiding in shame na I spent hours and hours to collect and then wala rin pala. So yeah, there's definitely that aspect of trial and error kahit you are, even if you're in the field na and you've planned it to the best of your ability. Okay, so some advices. This is the last part of my slide. I hope I'm still in time. But yeah, don't be afraid to question things. I think na in schools, especially when we were brought up in schools, we were just kind of taught na like this is this and this and this, but we weren't really given that chance to kind of question things, and that's a very important part if you're a researcher. um it's important to not only understand kung ano yung research, yung mga data na pinagbabasa mo, but you should also have that ability to kind of question na, oh, okay, ito yung ginawa niya, but why? And meron bang mas mabuting method for this? Or tama ba to yung ginawa niya? Tama ba yung pag-frame niya? And something like that. So, yeah, you definitely need to nurture that on your own, yung questioning things talaga. Kasi where I think like yung thinking natin is to just like accept na okay, this is it and this is it. But in research, importante yan to question things. Nurture your creativity. That's I think one aspect rin of research that not a lot of people consider. But if you want to be a researcher, you actually need to have a creative mind. Kasi that is really helpful when you are planning your data or you are planning your research questions and your objectives. You're absorbing all of this scientific information and you're looking for your niche, or you're looking for different ways how to do this and that needs creativity. And you really need to nurture that part of you as a researcher. Third is embrace collaboration in all aspects. And when I mean all aspects, it can be collaborations as simple as may kasama ka sa kapehan who is also doing a literature review, and magkasama kayo and you're just doing that, to the most intense scale of they're doing that, you're gonna go with them and then you're gonna help them collect data and magiging co-author ka sa mga papers nila. So collaboration in all aspects is so important kasi kapag researcher ka, you can you tend to be a little bit more isolated, especially like when you're not in field work, nasa laptop ka lang eh. So mag-isa ka lang most of the time, you would prefer to do remote work. So it's still important to keep that, to have a community and that collaboration as like a moral group support, something like that. So fourth is ride, ang corny ng pagsulat ko nito, but ride the wave of this fast-paced research world. Ano daw? So back in my day, in college, yung mga topics talaga na super trending was microplastic. It was all the rage na everyone wanted to do it. And then if you were doing that for your thesis, you were like so cool and you know. Now, as a researcher, the money, when I say money, is it's most like yung mga sources of funding, they're more interested now in food and nutritional security. So Yeah, some topics, like memes or some trending things, it's like it comes and goes rin. Not only in topics, but in different aspects as well. Like for example, I just attended this data workshop a few weeks ago where I found out na yung mga statistical classes na kinuha ko ng college was actually already obsolete. And people are now moving forward to this kind of data analysis. And ito na, wala na yung Bayesian, machine learning na tayo. Wala na to yung ganito. This is what they're doing now. So make sure that you are updated in all aspects of research, not just in topics, but in statistical modeling, in the way people do research. Kasi, for example, before, when people would do research, very closed off talaga sila sa data nila. But now, medyo mahirap na nga mag-publish ng scientific article if you don't have your raw data and your analysis completely transparent. So it's important to keep up to date with that and to not be like closed off na parang, ay, may bago namang ganito. I'm just gonna keep this because baka eventually magiging obsolete na siya and you realize that you're a bit behind na sa research. So make sure that you're updated. Ride the wave in a way na parang you know what is going on and you kind of have an idea kung paano tong gagawin at ganito. But also, of course, there's also trends. So you kind of need to be careful with ano ba yung trending lang ngayon just because ganito siya or ano talaga yung may malaking aspect to be continuing sa research. Um, yeah, I don't know if I hope that makes sense. Pero last, and ito yung pinaka corny, is work hard and be disciplined. I mean, obvious naman nito, but I think it's important to reiterate na you need to you need to have that discipline and that hard work. Kasi if you are hardworking, everything else just grows out of it. Your critical thinking, your creativity, the way you question things, the way you plan things, it just kind of grows from there if you are consistent with your work and if you do that. So, hindi naman na if you want to be a researcher or you want to get into that field, hindi naman prerequisite na you are already like super smart. Hindi ako cum laude, pero andito naman ako sa research. Um, Hindi ako magaling sa stats, but I persevered in trying to understand it and I kind of have a good grasp of it already, I hope. Pero yeah, it don't be discouraged if hindi ka naturally smart na tao like me. You just need to be hardworking and then everything else just comes after that. So I think that finishes my talk. Thank you and I hope hindi ko kayo na bore. If you want to keep in touch, I have my email there and definitely send me an email. I'm a serial email checker. So if you want to have a conversation, if you want to have a collaboration, if you have questions, definitely reach out. But yeah, that's it. Thank you po.
Ayan, thank you so much po, Miss Ana, sa inyong napakalaman na discussion ngayong hapon. Like, nakaka-inspire talaga siya. Oh my God. Ang dami ko natutunan. Kasi every slide spoke yung mga experiences nyo. And ayun, gusto, gusto kong i-highlight din po yung nung ikinuwento nyo kasi yung experiences nyo when it comes to your researches, nandun yung environmental science concept na ibabalance or cover niya yung three important aspects, yung environment, economic, and also the social aspect na as an environmental science student is parang ini-aim natin na every time na meron tayong gagawin, especially sa researches, ay kailangan talaga nababalance natin yun. And dun din po sa ano, yung sharing results to the local community. Parang mas ano niya siya, parang kasi karamihan kasi na nagre-research o kaya nag-data collections. Pag ayun nga gaya ng sinabi niyo po, pagkatapos kumuha ng data, parang wala na, hindi na babalikan yung mga community. Uh, yun naman yung parang pinaka-goal, 'di ba po? Para mas matulungan talaga yung mga ayun, mga fisher folks natin, yung mga local communities kung paano nga ba yung mga tamang parang mas magandang solutions dun sa mga problem na kinakaharap nila when it comes to coastal management and conservation. And ayun po, gusto ko rin i-highlight yung talaga yung women in science talaga. Like nakaka-empower kasi alam naman po natin 'di ba sa research field nung mga unang ano talaga, ang namamayagpag dyan is mga kalalakihan talaga. And ngayon, in our modern society, nabibigyan na ng equal opportunity talaga yung katulad natin ng mga kababaihan talaga, the women, na mag-speak out and i-voice out natin through our researches na ayun, mas na-empower yung kapwa women through your inspiring stories and experiences po. And ayun, nakaka-inspire talaga siya. For sure, ang ating mga participants ay talagang nai-inspire na sa mga i-share niyo po ngayong hapon. Ayan, o, 'di ba? Nag-agree sa atin si Press. So, ayun po, once again, thank you po, Miss Alice. You've truly inspired us, me personally, to think deeper and act wiser and love our oceans louder pa. So at this point, siguro let's give a shout out muna sa ating mga participants. So nakita kanina na habang nagdi-discuss si Mom, parang ang daming nagko-comment na sa ating FB Live sa comment section. So, meron ng mga taga Bulacan State University, syempre yung home university ko, Cavs, so ang dami na rin. Meron din ditong Visayas State University, Baybay Main Campus. Ayan, Visayas State University, Alang-Alang. Sa Tarlac State University, sino pa ba nandito? Mga taga Bulsu. And let's check. Ayan, may Southern Luzon State University, Bukidnon. Ayan, may Central Bicol State University. So, Pasakaw Campus, University of Southern Mindanao. So, makikita talaga natin na simula Luzon hanggang Mindanao, may mga participants tayong kasama ngayong hapon. And hopefully, maraming na-inspire and marami kayong napulot na aral sa diniscuss ni Ma'am Ana. So, ayan, meron ding from Bye-Bye. Ayan. Karamihan dito ay halo-halo from Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. And ayan, hopefully ay nag-enjoy kayo. So, siguro dumako na tayo sa ating next segment. Alamin na natin. Alam ko maraming tanong ang bawat isa sa atin, lalo na mga participants natin para kay Miss Ana. So at this point, because it's your time to shine na, kung pwede kayong mag-follow up, magtanong, bigay ng expressions nyo dyan sa comment section, basta with respect pa rin. So we are now opening the floor for your questions, so don't be shy. So Miss Alice is here and ready for your curious minds and ocean-loving hearts. So ayan, para sa ating talastasan portion, tinatawagan ko po ang ating Executive Vice President ng PAES, walang iba kundi si Kuya Lance Rafael G. Martinez.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Miss Anna. So again, I'm from Marinduque State University. Siyempre, Marinduque around Virgin Island Pasig. So, medyo nakaka-relate ako. And uh, recently may ginawa rin kami parang teachers, mga local teachers nababanggit nga. May parang kumukonti na yung population ng huli nila. So, ayun. So we have several questions here. Pero pinagsama ko na sila. So, like, half na lang. Uh, siguro po sa first question, I think they're asking for techniques on how you frame it in a way that our stakeholders could understand na the research findings would benefit them. And nabanggit ko nga po kanina, parang nakakahiya magtanong na ano yung kinain mo, ilang gramo, sino kumain, di ba? Ayun, are there any protocols in doing so and how can they apply research, result ng research natin without syempre compromising their life?
Yeah, great question. Sige. Let's start first sa data collection part sa when we do our surveys. So when we start our surveys, we make sure na very transparent kami. So magsasabi kami na galing kami ng Sulubay, which is that NGO that establishes marine protected areas. So they kind of know kung saan na kami nanggagaling. And then nagsha-share rin kami na yung pagsabi namin is when we collect the data at yung makukuha namin, magta-translate to siya into like parang malaman namin kung ano yung mga gusto ng mga tao or ano yung mga nangyayari doon so that the management actions will be relevant. So, ayan yung transparent namin. So, it kind of I hope that kind of gives them that understanding na yung pagsagot nila is not, for a Tupperware or something. Kasi to be transparent, we don't give them anything. Just to make sure na what ano yung binibigay namin sa kanila is what they would really think. So that kind of establishes that transparency and also hopefully that trust na ito yung gagawin namin. So sana yung ibigay mo rin sa amin na sagot is what you really think. In terms of food data, yes, it's very, very annoying talaga kami. So there's definitely that part na you have to be entertaining or charming. Charming, hindi. Na parang you have to, parang hindi lang parang kang deadman na, okay, isabi mo sa akin kung ano to or yung ano yan. So you have to make sure na it's a conversation or you're really interacting with them. Ano yung kinain mo? Kanuping? Hala, matagal ko na yung gusto kainin, sana all my access lang sa kanuping. Parang ganun na mga things. Um, Sometimes people nahihiya rin sila magsabi kung ano yung kinain nila kasi minsan kanin lang yung available, may times even na wala. So you just have to kind of work your way into that na parang aya ako rin minsan nagda-diet din ako para ano. So okay lang yan. Parang ganun. So you as a researcher kapag nagsusurvey ka, you definitely need to have that in mind na in terms of hierarchy, ikaw talaga yung mataas sa kanila. Unfortunately, you're the one who is educated. You have that capacity na gawa ng ganitong work. But you really have to make sure na you keep your privileges in check. At you really have to understand na hindi mo to magagawa kung wala sila. So that's why you kind of have to make sure na, yeah, ganun, na you have to be fair or equal. Yeah, ano yung isa? The result sharing. Okay. So this one is super fun to think about kasi kapag especially for example, I'll just give out this example on fish visual census. So kapag kumukuha kami ng isda namin at record namin and we analyze the data, maraming results lalabas, biomass, productivity, abundance, mean length, trophic levels. Paano mo yan i-share sa kanila? Magsasabi ka na yung trophic level ng Sandoval U1, which is the name of the site, is ganito. Of course, they're not gonna give a shit about that. So what we would frame it in a way that they would care, and we would also make sure to frame it in a way muna that they would understand. So for example, when we talk about biomass and how that fish biomass increase the more na protected yung area, we kind of explain them na ito yung biomass, ito yung kabigat ng isda sa isang certain area. Kapag may ganito ka, mga 3 kilos per ganito yung biomass, And then ganyan. And then we also share them na ito yung mean size ng mga isda nyo. Maliliit sila kapag 15 to 20 centimeters. Konti lang yan yung eggs na pinuproduce nila. Pero kung malalaki na sila, they go like 25 to 30 centimeters. They produce more eggs. And of course, more eggs equals more fish. So you have to frame it in a way na what results would they care about? Kasi I don't think I mean, they can care about like the traffic levels and things like that. Pero I think they would appreciate facts or data that are more straightforward, and also the ones that connect kung ano yung ginagawa nila sa livelihood nila. So yeah, that's like how we frame it. We frame it in a way na you you don't think about yourself. You don't say na, this is like a really pretty graph, so isi-show ko to sa kanila. You have to put yourself in like their shoes, and kailangan mo isipin kung ano yung relevant or ano yung interesting sa kanila. And as much as maybe you would like to share this data, if it's relevant ba or maintindihan ba to nila, you simplify it and things like that. So, yeah.
So you heard the answers. So those are from UTD Science and BSU Bayside. And bale, you really have to connect with them first and siyempre show compassion. Hindi lang basta yung tatanong, di ba?
Yeah.
Alright, so next question is from Luzon naman pareho. From Central Bicol State University of Agriculture and UP Taguig. So yung question nila, nabanggit niyo po kasi yung parang rider rate sa mga research topics. Like ano kaya yung mga environmental issues na kailangan natin pagtutunan as sa research na pagkakaroon ng magandang impact on the next decade.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
So, medyo maingay ba?
Yeah,
Una
yeah,
na kasi,
okay lang. But yeah, pwede lang paulit. Hehe.
ayan, so ano po kaya yung mga research topics or mga issues na dapat natin i-focus at environmental science researchers na magkakaroon ng malaking impact on the next decade.
Okay. Well, I can give you some topics that I think would be interesting to talk about. Pero parang, like, ano lang, I'm a marine science girl. So, ayun lang yung mabibigay ko sa mga tao. But, maybe let's start like on a broader scale that is a bit more in general, and then you maybe can go into it more if you're sa niche ninyo or kung ano yung ginagawa. But definitely, although I think it's already quite common na rin, is yung interactions talaga ng mga people sa environment. And that interaction also involves, well, it's dipping your toes na into like even like psychological things na, like how people interact, how they perceive this and that. I think that's also an important aspect of environmental science na kapag nagtitingin ka ng social component, hindi lang yung like very basic or a bit descriptive. You have to look into how they interact and like the inner place of that. Kasi in different areas talaga, there's gonna be issues, or there's gonna be things that are very, very context specific. And mahahanap mo lang yan if you go deep into the community and you kind of understand how they work or how they interact. So, yan, in general. Let's go to my niche naman sa marine conservation. Some interesting topics that I think are still emerging that maybe you can look into is, of course, food security. So ano naman, small scale fishers are finally getting that acknowledgement na malaki talaga yung contribution nila sa nutritional and food security ng bansa natin. And I think looking into the food systems and how it works and how it translates like from ocean to plate is very interesting. And I think I think overall yung theme ng pagsasabi ko is like look into case studies. Kasi although case studies, they might be just very niche and context specific. It's ayun yung mga setbacks kapag case studies yung ginagawa mo is parang okay, so that's great here, but how does that apply to the rest of that? But yung application kasi ng mga case studies and when you look into context specific things is how you work, how you like collected your data and how you kind of approach your research. So yeah, definitely look into context specific things, I would say. I don't know if ano to, pero if you fail, huwag kayong bumalik sa akin. That's just I don't know though. Magsabi na lang ako ng ganun para but yeah.
Okay. So, maybe last question na lang kasi nag-overtime na tayo. So, this is from 15 First Guard at Cavite State University. Um, it, it talks about sa pag-apply sa international like level naman.
Aha.
Uh, hmm. Ayun. So, paano natin i-align yung ang mga environmental regulations natin, mga research natin, on the global framework na nakaka may progress tayo sa mga policies and agreements internationally without, siyempre, compromising yung needs ng stakeholders natin.
Okay. Very Miss Universe naman na tanong. Grabe. But yeah, okay. Let me, sige. Sa Philippines kasi, I mean, in terms of context, in context ng like, for example, climate change or like laws on like climate change adaptation in marine protected areas, the system is already there na it's already set up actually really, really well. Yung mahirap na lang is that translation into real life like applications. And that is what my work is trying to do, like making sure na translated well yung 30 by 30, making sure that when you do marine protected areas, it's being enforced really well. I'm thinking as I speak, so parang hindi ko na alam kung saan ako papunta. But when you do that, I think in terms na if you kind of want to apply it sa international settings and when you want to share things, it has to be framed in a way na actionable na talaga, actionable, tangible things. So when you say na it makes sure na it's relevant to the international stage, I think it's more of making sure that what you are doing translates into real life action and policy, or it yeah, something like that. So it doesn't even have to be like even like actual na talaga na ito yung ginagawa. It's even just sharing na if this is what we have in place, this is what we can do to make sure that this is achievable. So yeah. I'm not sure if I ano, pero yeah, I think that's yun lang nung lumabas sa akin. Nakaka-pressure naman
So,
yun. My
like,
God.
step by step lang until, syempre, mapunan natin yung part natin. Tama,
Yeah.
maging
Yeah. Y-
POP, gano'n. And all.
Yes. Thank you, Lance. Yeah.
So, parang lumabas din pala yung resulta ng baselining natin kanina. Kasi ang gaganda ng mga batas natin sa Pilipinas. Doon tayo sa implementation medyo nagpupunan.
Yes.
Yun. So, thank you so much, Miss Ana and Sai.
Thank
Back to you.
you.
Ayan, maraming maraming salamat po. Ah, Kuya, kaming natutunan na at nawa ay nasagot lahat naman ni Miss Ana, ang inyong mga katanungan at naunawaan nyo ito. So, ayan. Again, thank you so much po, Miss Salis. So, ngayon naman, upang kilalanin ang pagdalo at pagsasalita nyo ngayong araw na ito, ibinibigay po ng buong PAES itong Certificate of Appreciation bilang pasasalamat sa ating panauhing tagapagsalita ngayong hapon. So, let me read the citation lang po. So, ayan. Philippine Association of Environmental Science Students. This certificate of appreciation is hereby given to Ana Isabel Celis in recognition for her valuable contribution on resource speaker in PANTAS, environmental research in the global and local setup. Given this 30th day of August 2025, care of UPLB School of Science and Management, Laguna, Philippines. So, signed by our president founder, Mr. Kendrick Nico L. Farnillo. So, ayan, thank you so much po, Miss Ana, for your time and sa discussion niyo po. Very, ano talaga siya, very. So, ayan, para sa kalikasang anunsyo naman. So, hinihikayat po namin ang mga lokal na org ng PAES. Kung feel nyo na maging parte ng aming ever-growing, evergreen na samahan, slide to our DMs sa Facebook page ng PAES. Don't worry, madali lang po ang proseso. So ayan, here are some announcement for the next PAES activities. So kung makikita sa ating screen, magkakaroon na po tayo ng ating registration right now. Ang freshman fiesta na ongoing na rin until now yung registration and also the PAES General Assembly. So ayan, very exciting ang mga PAES activities natin this September. And mukhang nakikita ko sa mga registration form pa lang na sumasabog na sa dami ng participants sa gustong maki-join and makisaya sa PAES activities. So hopefully ay mag-enjoy po kayo at maging masaya kayo sa mga ihahanda pang activities ni PAES. So ayan, muling paalala lamang na ating evaluation form ay bukas lamang mula ngayon hanggang bukas ng alas 8 ng gabi. So ayan, ano po natin yan, i-comment natin yan sa ating FB Live section. So sa ating pagtatapos, iiwan ko po itong quote na to. So it's from Pope Francis. So the climate is a common good belonging to all and meant for all. So for me hindi lang siya hindi lang siya climate but also our nature itself, ang kalikasan or ang tahanang ginagalawan natin. It's a common good. Lahat tayo pantay-pantay na may karapatan sa kung ano ang nasa kapaligiran natin. And it's our responsibility to protect it no matter what. So ayan, yun lamang. Muli, ako si Saila Anamay Camirasol, ang inyong tagapagdaloy sa Pantas 2025. Daghang salamat sa tanan, amping kanunay sa susunod muli. Thank you so much everyone for watching.